Good afternoon.
There we go. Unmute. Hello.
Yeah. We're all checking in nice and keen today. So we've got Danny on and Mark.
Gary. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
How are we all doing?
Good. I thought I'd give it a try on the PC, see if because you got a bigger screen to play with.
Yep. Yeah. You all got your virtual cups of coffee with you then?
Too many.
Yeah. So I think Ant's going to be joining us today as well. I noticed he registered earlier on, and also there might be someone else who hasn't dialed in before who might be joining us. So we'll see how. And Georgina. Hey, Georgina. Nostar. How are you? Just put yourself on to mute. I love the way that Zoom works, that everyone assumes that they're on mute. And so they go and click mute to turn off the mute, which is actually turning it on. Can everybody hear me okay?
I can, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Georgina, are you in Wales still?
Yes, I am. So this is a really good opportunity to catch up with you guys.
Oh, excellent. That's good. Where are you? You're Crickhowell way or something?
We're about 5 miles from Crickhowell, yeah.
Okay, yeah. There's one of the early cases, I think, there was some problems around dusk a little while ago.
Well, the River Usk caused a fair amount of devastation, yes, and it flooded a lot of people. But yeah, so to get this immediately afterwards has been well, it's been really interesting seeing how the community has leapt up and created support groups and community sharing groups and things. It's been phenomenal, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's been really good. But by us, as I'm sure Mark will attest in Marlow, there's been a very rapid response of a community group setting up and helping old people and that kind of thing, which is good.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant, and I think it's a sign of things to come. That now that it's been proved that communities can actually self-organise, I think that we're going to see all sorts of things emerge as a result,
yep.
Which is, you know, so much in line with what Bitcoin is about and cryptocurrencies and sovereignty and autonomy and all that. I think it's really quite exciting.
Exactly, and it's been interesting how this could lead to a real resurgence in interest in crypto. That's why I found it fascinating, because you look at what crypto offers in this space, and it hits all the buttons, as you say. So you would have thought right now crypto would be rocketing up in price because people are beginning to see the value of it. That also there's this thing of when you've got a fear factor around, people tend to buy into gold and move away from cash, and then you go into alternative investments. So you would have expected crypto to be going up quite nicely, and I think it caught everyone out when Bitcoin plummeted a week or two back.
Yeah, but is it not just a sign of the fact it's a universal fear that we're facing at the moment, and the uncertainty is probably causing more of a general panic? I think that once we start to get into a new routine and the dust settles a bit, even if we do end up in lockdown, I mean, they're talking about us being locked down now until June. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like going, yes, I can actually start looking at going back into trading and things, because I'm stuck. I can't do so many other things, and I'm like, okay, excellent opportunity. And I think that will be something that I personally think that we'll see more of that. I think that people will be forced to connect with people online, and so suddenly they'll reach out with communities rather than, you know, habitually talking with their neighbor or the local community. They'll actually be reaching out to people that stimulate them and inspire them and try to alleviate the cabin fever that they're likely to be feeling. So, you know, who knows where it'll go.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny, everyone's saying at the moment that the people who suffer from OCD and are constantly cleaning, and the people who are introverts and don't like speaking to everybody, that they all feel completely at home.
Yeah,
Because
I definitely agree with that one.
yeah, so it's kind of good. But certainly from the crypto perspective, it does offer some great opportunities. I know locally there was a concern a couple of days ago about everyone queuing up at bank machines to take cash out. And people were saying, well, what do you need cash for? And everyone was saying, well, you know, if the banking systems start failing, I want to be able to pay people. And you go, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then people started saying, well, actually, cash can carry a virus, and therefore you don't want cash. So what you now need is an alternate way of paying for things that doesn't involve the banking system, that doesn't involve cash. Crypto, you know, how right can that be? That's really good. So, how are you anyway, Danny? How's it going? Are you back in the UK now?
But I didn't travel, my flight was cancelled. So I had lots of plans for April, which was going to be an unusually active month for me. I mean, the plans were, and now it will be different, which is fine. Gary, I mean, last week I had lots of questions, so I realized you had lots of things which you thought you wanted to talk about, like the halving and everything else which you mentioned. Maybe that's,
Yeah,
you answered. I had these questions last week, so I'm very keen to, and if you want, depending on what the others want to hear, yeah, I'm very happy to hear what you wanted.
Okay, cool. That's good. Well, I'm open to discuss whatever route people want to go. There's certainly the Bitcoin halving, which is scheduled for a few weeks' time. I shared a message in the group earlier on about how Bitcoin miners, they are they're selling their Bitcoin faster than they can produce it right now. And so that's kind of interesting, because that should result usually in a price going up, but it seems to not for some reason, which is kind of odd. But yeah, so just bear with me a moment. I'm just going to send that. David's trying to connect in at the moment, and he's having some problems. So I'm just sending him the link for this meeting again. But yeah, I'm happy to chat about anything, see what people want to talk about. We've got a couple of new people today by the look of it. Dolmy, is that? Hey, Dolmy? Dolmy, who's on mute at the moment. Doesn't want to talk. Okay, we've got, who's the one? Hey. Hey.
What's that? Am I in? Where are you?
You're in. Dolmy, that'll be Senor
Steve.
Malero.
Yeah. That's
Hey.
me.
Hey, come on, star. Are you connected in okay now then, David? I'll take silent as a possibly. Okay. I've got someone else on. DP Huey? Who's that?
Hi, Gary. It's Daryl here. How you doing?
Daryl. Hey there. It's good. It's the problem that you get with all these things, that sometimes people have their real names, and sometimes they've got pseudonyms, that kind of thing. So how are you finding things at the moment? Okay.
Yeah, not too bad. Unfortunate with the current times at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still doing a little bit of my own little research, I guess, with the mining.
Okay.
Also as well, and yeah, finding it quite interesting, really. So I thought I'll just jump in here just to kind of see what you guys might think about the current mining issue at the moment.
Yeah. Did you see the message I sent about?
Yes, I did. Yes.
That was kind of curious, because you know, I think what it actually is I think that the miners are trying to liquidate, and I suspect that they'd borrowed money to pay for the mining equipment, and the loans are becoming due, and it's probable that they're just selling some of the Bitcoin in order to actually pay their bills. But equally, could be that there was a butterfly flapping its wings in a forest somewhere. I don't know if you've got any other different views on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess where I'm still quite very new to it all, really, it's it's interesting to see how the effect of it all really is taken about.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm just going to really wait and see. Obviously, Corona's not really helping with the current state, but I'm going to wait and see what happens in the next coming weeks.
Yeah. Well, this is what we were saying at the beginning with, I think it was Georgina and Mark joined us as well, that in times of uncertainty, typically you get a cash flight to safe havens, things like gold and precious metals. And it had been thought that crypto would be a safe haven in times of uncertainty. And yet what we've actually seen is the price plummeting, which is the opposite of what you'd expect. So we'll see where it goes. I don't know if anyone else has got any other thoughts on that. This is where
storm's completely unpredictable.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where, you know, I've said all along that most people who are asked to predict price movements, they're just guessing, that there's no evidence. And when you say to them, well, tell me an event that's going to happen, and then tell me, you know, if that's good news, the price will go up. If it's bad news, the price will go down, or whatever. Give me a valid prediction of an event to prove that the real world has any impact on crypto at all. And to date, there's been no evidence of that whatsoever. And I think everyone was assuming that with the current situation with the virus and that it means that the price would go up, and it's done the opposite. Although it has kind of settled down in the last week. I've been watching it tracking fairly centrally. I don't know if everyone else is watching the price of Bitcoin in particular at the moment, but it seems fairly stable. And in fact, I'll go and pull up the latest prices on it in a moment.
Makes you look at the world stock markets and it all looks just like one big betting shop, doesn't it? We're all panicking.
You're right. It always has been, though. This is the bizarre thing. And when you take a look at what's been happening to the stock markets, you know, we're talking a major lockdown happening around the world. It seems consistent everywhere. I think we're talking certainly 3-month lockdown, possibly 6-month lockdown, entirely possibly 12-month lockdown. That's kind of very difficult to comprehend from a personal and a business view. So you would expect a massive flight of capital out of the stock markets. You'd expect them to have collapsed and totally died off, but they've kind of rebounded and they've settled down from what I've seen. So no one gets any of this right.
I think we're living in such extraordinary times at the moment. I mean, it's like when I look at the reaction to the announcement of the help with the self-employed, particularly, you can see that the government, I mean, they were so pleased themselves with the package that they offered, and it was very much from their perspective. And it's like, unless you're actually at the ground level, you can't necessarily see what impact that this is going to have on the small businesses. Mm-hmm. And they have, you know, they've offered support for basically the ones that are most comfortable. They've offered compensation for those that have been able to submit tax returns and pay taxes. And it's not taking into account the number of people who are just starting out, that, you know, that they've been self-employed because they can't actually get employment elsewhere. And it's so out of touch with the reality of what it is like to be on the ground level of being self-employed. And I think that it's another symptom of the disconnect between those that are in power, in authority at the top of the ladder versus what's at the bottom of the ladder. And I think an awful lot of people it's rabbits in headlights. It's, you know, they will stay with the things that they know because people are in a state of shock, because the unthinkable has happened. If you'd said even a few months ago that, you know, more than 3 billion people would be in lockdown, it's completely, you'd be labelled as being completely insane and a conspiracy theorist for, you know, thinking, even coming up with the idea. Yep. And, you know, it is, we can't predict the psychology of human nature and how people are going to behave. And it's like when you look at, we're in lockdown, you are not allowed to leave your house except for walking from your house for your daily exercise. So when you see reports of like Dartmoor today, you know, somebody sending a picture in on Twitter saying that they had to park a mile away from the start of their walk because the car park is full to overflowing, it's human nature to congregate. Even though they have been warned of the dangers of it, it's against the law because, you know, you are likely to be fined if you're caught out. People are still going to converge with what they know. They're going to seek belonging. They're going to seek something that's familiar. And I think that this will be reflected in the way that Bitcoin behaves, the stock market behaves, and the long-term effect is something that I don't think anybody can predict. And because essentially I think that everything is going to be rewritten, everything.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, what do you want to create from here?
I think you're right, and this is where it's interesting. I think you can all see that the price of Bitcoin up on the screen now, and how it was that on the 13th of March, it took this kind of like plummet, whatever, and then it's just been meandering around for the last few weeks. It's kind of stabilized. I think you're absolutely right, Georgina. I think people are trying to comprehend what this new world looks like in so many ways, from a social, a business, economy, and a crypto perspective as well. So we'll see where it goes. Parminder, you can join us. I think it's Parminder. Oh, gone quiet. But yeah, we're certainly living the Chinese prophecy of living in interesting times. And I think the rule books are just being destroyed, and the government's trying to respond and react on what they're going to do. And Georgina, you're on my WhatsApp group for small business people, aren't you, or the self-employed?
Yes.
So
yeah.
you've probably seen some of the comments on there where initially, oh great, you know, government's offering £2,500 a month for small businesses. That's great. And then when you actually look at how it works and how most people actually have their company set up and get paid in a salary and in dividends, and you look at the qualification criteria, and it's so tiny that it just doesn't work. It's interesting. Martin, I've forgotten his name now. Martin, the guy who does Money Supermarket. I think
Martin Lewis.
Martin Lewis, yeah. I think he's been following up with Treasury to say, you know, you need to do something here because there's 1 million people who are going to struggle and suffer because of this. So, hey, Parminder, do you manage to get in this time?
Hello?
Hey.
There we go.
Oh, hi there. Yeah, I haven't been coming to the meetup for a long time, but I think the Zoom thing is excellent. Glad to join.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Well, whereabouts are you based, Parminder? Is it Maidenhead or something?
I was based there, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm currently not there. I'm working remote right now, so
as
is everyone else.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
Go on, Mark. The Zoom share price.
Well, it's interesting that Zoom is being flagged as a takeover contender right now. So wouldn't be surprised if someone like Google or Microsoft trying to acquire them. Yeah. But from what I can remember, that the origination was Chinese owned, I think. The CEO. Yeah.
I looked it up on Google. I mean, the share price has only been going back 12 months, but it's I think it's it was about $60 a share, and now it's about $150 a share.
Mm.
So, but
and it's amazing. It's become the de facto way of meeting and talking to people. I mean, I'm using Zoom, I'm using Skype, Facebook Live, Remo for like group meetings, and I think 1 or 2 other things as well. I haven't used WebEx for quite a long while.
I think Forrest used Zoom as well.
Yeah. That was funny where we saw him standing next to the chief medical officer, the chief scientific officer, and the chancellor, and then all the press were zooming in, which was good. But I would imagine by now they'll have all been infected by Boris. So the way it goes. Okay, has anyone got any particular crypto topics or subjects that they would like to discuss today in the last 10 minutes?
Is there anything that you wanted else to say about the halving that's coming out? Because I think that's certainly very interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things that for those who don't know, it's simply that at the moment, every 10 minutes, a block is mined in the Bitcoin network, and the miner is rewarded with 12.5 Bitcoin for mining that block. And the way that the protocol has been written is that halves every 4 years, and that is to ensure that the supply of Bitcoin decreases over time. So in theory, when you've got a decrease in supply, that ensures that the price will maintain or go up. And so it originally started at 50 Bitcoin per block, then halved to 25. It's now 12.5. And in the next few weeks, I can't remember the date, I think it's sometime in April, it'll decrease to 6.25. And so that means that a Bitcoin miner will only be rewarded 6.25 Bitcoin for mining a block. So that means financially, that might stop some miners from mining because it's just economically not worth the while doing it anymore. But what it also means is that there's going to be a decrease in the rate of supply of Bitcoin, which could lead to the price increasing. Unless you work on the theory that everyone knows that's going to happen, and so they've already been buying or selling Bitcoin in anticipation of that, and therefore when the halving actually happens, it'll have no difference or impact whatsoever. I don't know if anyone's got any strong views on which way it will go. Yeah, I was expecting silence on that.
That familiar, but wasn't it from what I have been reading before? With the halving, the value of Bitcoin will increase, right?
No.
No?
This is the thing. The price is going to do one of three things. It's either going to go up, go down, or stay the same. Because, and this is where I find it funny speaking to crypto people who claim that they're experts in economic theory and that, the normal traditional economics in the real world for a minute, we talk about demand and supply. You can draw them out on a graph, and you can work out at a particular price the demand for this product or service will be X, and at a particular price the number of manufacturers willing to produce a product is going to be Y or whatever. And you can draw those out, and where you get what's the crossover point, that's where your market is. That's where you've got people who will buy and sell it. Now with crypto, it kind of operates similar to that, but you need to have enough people wanting to buy it at a particular price in order for someone to sell it at a particular price, and you've got to have enough miners mining it for it to be created and that. So there is no actual reason, unless you know there is definitely going to be an increasing demand, for a change in supply to have any impact on the price. So it's a bit like Pokemon cards in a playground. That, ultimately, if someone suddenly decides that a particular Pokemon card is worth more and they'll pay a premium for it, then the price of that card goes up. But if someone comes along and rips up half of those particular cards, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that those cards will go up in price. People just go, I'll go and play Monopoly instead or something.
Has anybody done a comparison with what it's done in the past when it's gone through this? I mean, is it like, I want to see a graph where I can actually see the patterns each time it's happened. Has anybody done that?
I think I have seen some things like that, and it tends to show that there is an increase, but not as much as you would expect. And this is where, again, if you start looking at economic theory and markets and that, because this has happened, well, it went from 50 to 25, so that's one, and 25 to 12.5, so that's two. So this is the third time it's happened. Because it's the third time that's happened, if people look at patterns and go, well, the previous two times it went up in price, therefore it will go up in price, therefore I'll buy it in anticipation of it going up in price, then all that's going to happen is that when it does go up in price, they'll sell their coins in order to realize that value, which will decrease the price. So I think by the time you hit a third cycle of something, the price has the halving built into it, kind of thing, if you see what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I'm interested in what Willy Woo is saying saying that he says in one of his later tweets, "We're undergoing flight to safety right now. Bitcoin is looking for its bottom, but no, once the bottom is in there, there are strong bullish pressures ahead. It's this economic environment in the years ahead that Bitcoin was built for." I think that it's not just the halving that is, is going to go through and have an impact on it. It's going to be the where Bitcoin itself is at the moment, and with the coronavirus and all the various different disasters that have been happening, Australian bushfires, the River Usk getting flooded, wherever we are, there's invariably something that's having an impact, and I think that it isn't going to be something that anybody can predict.
Yep, and that's the ultimate admission that no one can predict it, or no one can predict it reasonably accurately, and there's no kind of certainty. And I think Danny and I have had this chat before now about, is such and such a thing going to lead to the price going up, down, and which coins should you buy, and all this kind of thing. There's no certainty with any of this. I think the only people who are able to consistently make money out of this market are those who go in for like volatility trading. They are simply buying on the ups and downs, and they're not thinking of it as long-term investments. They're thinking of it as a trading opportunity, because it doesn't actually matter if Bitcoin keeps dropping in price over time, as long as sufficient like flows up and down for them to piggyback on those things. Parminder, did you say you were doing some mining, or you're looking at mining, or was it someone else who was saying that?
Mining, maybe 6 years ago. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
when it was worthwhile.
I think it was someone else,
some free electricity.
No, at the time, I was considering mining using a PS3. That was back in 2011. That was a long time ago. But yeah, it's going way back, bro.
It's amazing.
I wish I had persevered. I explored it, and I was ready to go, and I just never really pulled the trigger.
What you should have done is sold the PS3 in 2011, bought your Bitcoin then, and what would it be worth now, Gary?
Well, in 2011, it was worth what, $100 or something. So
the PS3 was about £300, wasn't it?
No,
sorry.
It was a few dollars actually back then. I think it was
really, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could have got yourself about 100 Bitcoin. Bitcoin's trading currently at, what was it? Got a price up on here, around about $6,000, or just short of $6,000. Call it 5,000, or yeah, 6,157 at the moment. It's down 1%. So yeah, funny, isn't it? It would have been better to sell your mining kit, buy some Bitcoin, and just sit back and relax. Okay.
I have a question.
Yep.
What are your thoughts regarding the Steam and Hive thing going on?
I've not really been following it. I believe there's been some problem with Steam. Can you share with the group, because they might not all be familiar with that?
Honestly, I'm not an expert, but a lot of people have been talking about that in the crypto world. There's been a split off with Hive. But Hive now, a lot of developers have moved to Hive from Steam, because Steam, it was taken over by, what's his name, Justin. What's his name?
I was going to say Bieber.
Yeah, it seems. Is
it Justin Sun? Justin Sun?
Yeah, Justin Sun. Yeah,
yep.
yeah. And there was a lot of controversy around the way he was handling things, and he's been getting a lot of backlash, and he's basically self-sabotaged the project.
Yeah. All I know, for those who aren't aware, Steam is kind of like a publishing platform. So it's a bit like WordPress or a blogging site, but you get paid in Steam credits when people effectively like whatever you've written. So, and those Steemits, which are tokens, can be converted into fiat currency. So it is actually a way of monetizing writing blogs and that kind of thing. So great idea. It's been going on for a few years now. But as I said a minute ago, the ownership of the company has changed. And so you got Justin's son, who I've forgotten his history now, but he's well known in the crypto space as well, has taken over. And I think that has caused this kind of like this fragmentation, where, as you're saying, some of the coders have left Steam, which is a real shame because it's a great platform and it's one of the few good ideas of using a crypto. So yeah, but I'm not really. I haven't been following it closely enough. Well, unfortunately, I've been so busy tracking another event in the world. I've got a little bit distracted in the last week or so. The meeting, I've just had a note because I'm still running this on a free package with Zoom, is going to run out shortly. We've only got a few minutes left. So has anyone got any quick, urgent questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a quick one with the coronavirus. Do you know, guys, if we are self-employed, we have to pay VAT? Is confirmed or not?
Yeah, you continue to pay VAT, but you can defer the payment. If you, I'll ping you a note to my WhatsApp group, David, because I'm running a separate group with about 100 people in it now, which is for self-employed people in the UK.
Okay.
And that's got some useful links in it. I'll share that with you separately outside of this meeting.
So do we have to do anything or not, just delay the payment?
The only thing you need to do is, if you pay by direct debit, cancel the direct debit.
Okay, no, I do it one time. Okay.
Okay, I'll share. Anyone got any crypto-related questions before we go off?
No, I think that what I'd be interested in hearing about is that, particularly in the situation that we're in at the moment, it's really testing businesses and as I say, you know, what I was saying earlier about everything's going to be redesigned. I think that there are going to be some cryptocurrencies that are going to really surge because they're actually providing something, they're linked with a service that's actually in need. And I'd be really interested to hear if anybody's got any thoughts on what cryptocurrencies are likely to be fulfilling those needs, because I think that's something that we need to watch out for.
Yeah, I'd suggest ping that out to the group on the WhatsApp thing, because that's going to be an interesting discussion about what the different cryptocurrency purposes are, and so which ones might actually fit quite nicely for this kind of thing. That'd be a good one. Okay, so thanks, Georgina. Danny, you got any closing things?
Oh, no, thanks, Gary. I actually was going to ask the same as Georgina, if there are any thoughts, which of the altcoins would be having, I know we are not supposed to make any financial predictions and anything, but just to share thoughts. So,
yep. Yeah, that'd be good. Well, Georgina, just post something out on the forum. It'd be a good discussion about what do people think about what cryptocurrencies are going to thrive, so you can avoid saying what are going to go up in price, but which are going to fit well for this thing. Folks, I'm getting the other message say that Zoom's about to throw us off, so I'm going to bid you all goodbye. Hope you found this interesting, worthwhile coming along, and key thing is remember to wash your hands. Bye all.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks.
Take care.
Goodbye.